Hello, this is a tutorial on making a fractal from the random generation. So I have here now the basic default setup with the Julia. You can see it here. It's Julia there. And when making random fractals, it's easy to think that if I just use a lot of variations, I will get a large variety of random fractals. What will happen is that you get a lot of noisy fractals, like this one. It's just a cloud of noise. And not very ordered fractals. They are a little bit chaotic. It's an easier, a better way to go about making the new random is to just use a couple of variations. Let's try something else. Let's see. Let's take a glinsim. Now we have a glinsim there, and the weight is set to 1. Doesn't mean that every fractal generated with this will have a glinsim at the weight of 1, but somewhere around there, some lower and some higher. 1 is not always the best setting. You see, you get some interesting stuff here, but if I lower the weight to about half, let's see what that will give us. As you can see, you get more zoomed out fractals, and that means that you see more of the structures outside, like this one. If we had set the weight to 1, maybe we just had seen this cross in the middle on some of the surrounding structures, but if you set them, the variations to about half, 4.5, 5, 6, something like that, you often get a better result. Now I want to something more there. I wasn't going to press that one. Stop it. It's like baking. You always have yeast, and the yeast in fractals is linear. So let's see what we have here. Linear can be set to 1 without problem. So let's see what result we will get. I think that is a bit too much. Let's lower the linear. See what result we'll get there. That means if we lower the linear, the weight of the linear, the repetitions will be closer to each other and not so stretched out. I like that one. Let's put that in the favorites. Yes, it's there. If we change the weight of the glinsim 3 just slightly, 0.73, you can get a rather different result. And we got a rather different result, and it wasn't very pretty. Oh, that one, last one was okay, but the first one here and this green one before the last one was not very good. If we just lower it a little bit, when working with a new random page, every little change can make huge differences sometimes. Like that one. Let's put that in the stash too. See if we get anything more. That was rather nice. But nothing that I feel I would like to work with. We have now, of course, linear in the pre and the post and the linked and the final. Let's see if we have a final set. Yes, we have a final. Number of random transforms is 2 now. We got minimum of 2 and maximum of 2. That's okay because we want to add stuff later. Let's try something else than Glinsim. Let's see. What do we want to try then? Let's try a Juliascope. Set it to about 0.5 there. And see what that will give us. What I'm looking for now is a simple shape. I don't care so much for the colors because they are going to be changed. But I want a simple shape that I can build upon. And these where cloudy fractals are not simple enough. Let's lower that one and raise the linear. You see, now you got some other shapes here. Well, we go to the values and see what values we have on the Juliascope. Power minimum -2 and maximum 2. Let's increase the maximum to 7. And the minimum distance from -1 to 1. Let's try 5. Let's see if that will make. Yes, I would like that one. The first one there. I'm definitely going to keep that one. I select it and I put it in the stash. Let's see if I have it there now. Oh, I missed the button, I think. Try it again. Like that. Oh, come on. Let's do like this then. And put it in the favorites. Now I have it there. But I wonder if that is a bug or if I just missed the button. Let's do something with this one. It's rather interesting. We can zoom out a bit. And we have here two transforms. The first one is that centerpiece there, and the second one is this pattern. What do they contain? I select the first transform and go to variations and see that it has a pre-linear and it has a linear and a Juliascope. Post-linear. When you have linear in pre and post like this all on their own, all they do is change the rotation and zoom of the fractal. And the second variation, the second transform, you have the linear in the normal group and you have a linear in the final transform too. Okay, so what do we want to do here? Let's add another linear and see what that will give us. Plus Xform 3 comes pre-populated with a linear. Let's change the size of the triangle. Yeah. If we go the other way. Well, this is rather interesting. Here I would like add to favorites command in that menu. But we have it here. Add to favorites. Let's make this something else than a linear. X1 3 and the normal group linear. Change. What should we try? Julia. Let's see how that would look. change the weight of the Julia. Well, that's rather boring. It's better what we had. No, what I'm doing, I'm in the final now. Not supposed to be there, I'm supposed to be here. Transform 3. So, if not a Julia, let's see, what should we then use? Rings. Let's try rings. Rings 2. Okay. That's rather neat. You get a round border. If I go to the negative value, it gets a round border again. But if I take that just a little bit, it's a very low weight value for rings 2 now, and I get just small rings around the center and around the red shapes there. Okay, let's go with that. But we have the rings 2 selected, so we go to all and we can change the value. How will that affect things? Just change the size of the ring. I think that is what we want. What I want, I don't know what you want, but this is what I want. Okay, now let's see. The first transform, that green shape in the middle, and the second transform, which is the linear pattern here, and the third transform is the ring around the center. Okay. If we want to make some big differences or changes, we need to change X form 2 here. Let's first add these two variants where the favorites, so we have a backup. Now let's see, we go to variation, we have X form 2 here, and we have the linear set here. I wonder what the matrix is on this one. Yes, we have it here, and here we can change make the big changes in the shapes. A bit octagonal or octagonal there. Oh, I like it as it was. I hit undo and I try to rotate it. I got a more cross-like appearance. Don't like that. What if I change the size of the triangle? Make it smaller. It will separate that shape in 4. If I make it larger, oh, that could be interesting, but not, I feel, as interesting as what we already had. Well, stop. That is a bit less static than what you had before. Let's go with that. Can we change color to see a bit better how it looks? Oh, we can have gray there. Works for now. Okay. I just make a few spins in the variance editor, see what that will give us. We change the variation weights to well, yeah, you can find good stuff here. Okay, just checking. Let's go back to the Xform editor. Now, Xform 2. We have nothing in the pre-group there. Let's add something. And what do we want to add? Let's add, what have it? A blur zoom, blur linear, maybe? Blur pixelized, no. Let's try a blur linear. Let's increase the length. Yeah. Go minus. You see, here you get another result when you come to the minus values than the plus values. On many transforms you will have the same result but only the other way around, but not blur linear. Okay, say I want that one. What I can do now to make things more interesting in the Xform 2 is to make another pre-group. I have a post group here. Let's make that pre-group by pressing the blue up arrow, and let's add a matrix 2 there. Matrix 2 is a very usable variation. If I go here now on the matrix, I get straight to a graphical editor, and I can move this around. What I'm doing now is I'm moving the blur linear around. I can get to shapes that I wouldn't get otherwise, like that. Let's make it smaller. No, I want to separate those like that, those pill-like shapes there. If I rotate it, will they rotate? They will. Okay, but that's not what I want now, so I undo that. Okay, so what happens now when we change the linear in the normal? Let's make it a little smaller so we can see what happens. And we go to Xform 2 and to graphical editor, and now we shape all the groups in that transform, the pre-groups and normal groups, and if I had one, also the post groups. Okay, sometimes when you do this you can find fantastic things, and sometimes you don't find anything really. Let's hope this is one of those times when you find something fantastic. Hypertile 2 in the final, and we go to the graphical editor and we start moving that around. Something like that. We can have pre and post groups on the on the final two. And let's experiment further and see what we can get. Let's try and have when you are searching for variations, don't use Crackle because it hasn't been fully implemented. Fractal Architet for iOS can read fractals that use Crackle made on Mac, but if you start to edit them, it will crash. eJulia. Let's try eJulia. This is a post eJulia now. Something like that. And we want to change the parameter, the power. We need more headroom, so I enter 20 here. You get this pattern. Things are getting out of hand there. Let's stay at 2, I think. Like that. And what happens if we take that post group and hit the blue up arrow and make it a pre-group instead? That's quite different. Okay, like that. What do we have here now? This third X-form here. It's rings 2, yes. Let's make a fourth and let it be linear and start experimenting with it. Oh, now something happens. That is infinitely more interesting. How much can we make it of it? Something like that maybe. Yeah, definitely. I think it's time to go into the variance editor now. That's quite different. And try to find some interesting colors and shapes. Let's start by just randomizing the colors. I would like it a little bit more defined, so we'll work on that later. But right now, let's change the variation widths too. Right now we're working on the shapes. You can see you have a whole bunch of interesting shapes here. How was it? Well, we can use this instead of going back there. The color gradients, X-form color, chaos. What happens if we change the chaos? Well, that was not that bad actually. But now I pressed it twice, so I get a second round of variations here. No variants. Sometimes it's hard to differ variations and variants. I wouldn't call this variations because they are variations from the original, but they are variants of the original. Wait. We are bound to find something interesting in here. I see a lot of things that have potential. Nothing that really pops. Not quite. Maybe that one. Add it to the favorites. What can we do more? We can change the matrix, but what will that give? Oh, that gave us this one. Like that. 3 fractal clocks. Okay, we need to do more here. Matrix, color, Symmetry. Yes, there it is. There it is. That's the one. Put it in the favorites. Let's see if it wind up in the favorites too. That would be very nice if it did. Please, 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 please. Yes, thank you. And now we will work on that one. So what does it need? A little more definition. Let's go to layer and go to color shading and decrease the gamma. I don't want 4 there as a maximum because I get too little over the slider. Something like that. That's nice. Okay, go back all the way and we zoom out a bit. I pinch my fingers and I want to reposition this. That. Hit done there and go back here. Safer to do it here actually because now it is saved. I try to make it a little bigger here. Slightly more up. That I want the same distance to the border of the image down here and up there. I think that is not horizontally. Stop it. Like that. That feels more like it. Okay. I think that is done. But now we have something interesting like this. Let's see what happens if we change colors. Oh, we find that one. Yes, want it. Put it in the favorites. You see, colors can make a very large difference. I like many of these colors. I like that one and I like the pink one. Put them in the favorites. What happens if we play with the weights? Nothing really interesting. Variation parameters. What happens then? Oh yes, we have a hypertile as final. So we don't want to change the parameters of the hypertile final because then you get those 2 dots that just don't make anyone happy. Rather interesting too. That one. Find something more. Let's see if we find something more. This blue one here was rather interesting. Thanks to these yellow circles around here, looks like some kind of script or something. No, not interesting enough, I think. Okay, I think that might be it. Go to the favorites and see which one do we want to render. I don't know. I'm a bit torn by the green one here, and the second variant we did on that with the more brownish orange feel. I think I start by rendering this one. But it's a little bit overblown highlights there. Quite a bit overblown highlights actually. So let's lower the brightness, something like that instead. Okay, Yes. So I will render this now, and I will recharge my iPad since I only have 18% of battery left, and I'll get back.